3, 2, 1. Three, two, one.
Welcome and thank you for joining us today. For friends who are over here, we're going to take a minute to wait for more of us to join. Meanwhile, I would love to come and say hi to everyone. Perhaps you can type on the chat. Tell me how's your Saturday so far, and perhaps you can tell me how you feel about the new phase two again, or random things like that. But when you do that, remember to click on all panelists and attendees, then I can see all your comments. And if you notice, there's also a Q&A segment today. So you have any questions that you'd like to perhaps ask any of our speakers today, you can also type over there, because later we're going to have a Q&A segment to get answer some of your questions. So I see some people already talking here. Hi Sam, thanks for joining us. Yes, it's raining heavily. My side is just having some lightning and thunder in the background. Not sure whether your side is really raining heavily. Tell me which part of Singapore you're at. Is it the west, the north, the east, the south, and then whether it's raining? I'm not sure whether it's the entire Singapore. I'm in the far east. Not Far East Plaza, far east of Singapore. Hi everybody. Yes. Oh, back to phase two. I know, right? It kind of we kind of already know it's coming when they had the first little changes and then more cases coming up. We kind of know that things are going to change a little bit, but I think it's good for everyone. We try to be more secure, more safe, take more precautions, because people are getting a little not careful these days, so it's important. Yes, really heavily in the east. Perhaps yours is the other side of the east. My side haven't started raining, but I know it's gonna come. Yes, good day. Phase two, stay home. That's why we're doing a webinar. Stay home and be safe. Oh yes, tomorrow it's Mother's Day. So happy Mother's Day in advance to all the moms and your moms and your mom's moms over here. If you can hear the thunder, my side I can hear the thunder. So while people are still joining us over here, I would like to say hi to all of you. And remember, when you chat, you need to click on all panelists and attendees so that I can see and everybody can see your comments. So if you by default, I think it's just attendees, then the panelists can't see. Or is it the default is panelists, then the audience can't see? So today we're doing the 7th episode of R Factor. I am your host, Tammy Chu. And before I start, I'm gonna just say what we say all the time. Our tagline for R Factor: most choose to ignore the inevitable. We choose to face up to it. R Factor, are you ready? If you're ready, type in the chat, say you're ready, and we're gonna start today's R Factor already. Some say what? I see the chats coming in. Some say that we must have 感动老天. that's why it's raining. I think so too. So funny. Yes, if you're ready, type ready in the chat so that I know that all of you are here, ready. We're going to start the next. Today is the 7th episode. This is a series of interactive webinars, so I really, really love to hear all your comments. Rather than just sitting here listening to us, it's going to be a little boring, right? So I would like to hear some of your comments so we can chat along the way. And today's topic is a little different compared to rest of our sessions. Yes, Sam, you are ready. Yes, I'm ready too. Today we're going to touch on the Enneagram topic. If you guys have actually heard Enneagram personality types, there are actually 9 personality types. I think it's kind of new. Only this couple of years that I've heard about it in Singapore. I'm not sure in other countries, but to me, it's a really new topic. And I'm very, very interested in this. And Enneagram personality types, and today also how to maximize the potential of your personality. Today's topic is, are you ready to excel in your career? So I'm trying to do more about Enneagram personality types, and based on that, how you can leverage on your personality type, your potential, and for your career. So today's session, I'm going to have 2 speakers with me. Before I introduce them, today's floor is going to be starting with an introduction of Enneagram. And then we're going to discuss one personality type, which is the personality type of our second speaker over here. And then we're going to do with a Q&A section. And then we're going to discuss more traits about this and how to work with people with this personality type, how to maximize the potential as well. So meanwhile, once again, if you click on your bottom bar, if you're on the laptop, it's on the Zoom bottom bar, there's a chat function. Remember to click on all panelists and attendees quietly so that we can we can see your comments. And after that, if you have any questions along the way, you doesn't have to wait for the Q&A segment. You can just type your questions anytime. And then meanwhile, when we come to the Q&A session, we're gonna see which of our questions our speaker is gonna answer. We will try our best to answer as many as we can, even though our Q&A section may be a little bit short. But no worries, if we have questions that we are not able to answer you, we'll always follow up with the person who invites you today. Okay, so what is Enneagram? So Enneagram is a system of personality typing. So it describes the patterns of how people interpret the world and manage their emotions. So Enneagram, we have 9 different personality types, and it maps each of these personality types to 9 pointed diagrams. Later, our speaker is going to share more about that. It also helps to illustrate more how these types relate to one another. But why hear from me? Let's hear from the expert, our Enneagram coach. So may I introduce now on screen our Enneagram coach. And before that, I'm going to do a short introduction of her so that we can share screen and show a little bit more about our first speaker for today. And that will be our Enneagram coach, Xiaoqing over here, Miss Ma. So she's an accredited Enneagram coach and has conducted numerous Enneagram workshops at NUS, as well as for clients and consultants in assisting them to discover more about the personalities and their co-workers' personalities as well. This will enable them, help them to improve relationships at work and also better to assessing career options. She is also previously from a MNC, and she's a regional sales director, sales manager previously, but she gave up a comfortable life, a great income, and come to Unicorn. Why? I'm actually quite curious. Actually, I've heard the story a few times before. Maybe later I can ask again. Let's see how, okay. And her belief in life is all about myself for others, propelled her desire for continuous growth. I really like that because this Chinese 我为人人人人为我 is it something like that? laughing. Okay, welcome Xiaoqing, welcome.
Thank you, Tammy, for the great introduction. I think people will be wondering, is this Xiaoqing like a PRC Chinese name and 人人为我为人人, right? Okay. Anyway, I'm actually from Singapore, homegrown Singaporean. And yes, I guess you may be asking, why are we doing this workshop? It has nothing to do with financial planning. Why are we talking about Enneagram? So to kickstart the session, I'll share the purpose of why we are doing this, holding this session for our friends and clients. It's actually part of our client servicing effort. After all, we always felt that our faith is intertwined together with our clients. Just as much as being their consultant, we want them to excel in their career through better self-awareness of their strengths and weaknesses, better relationship with their bosses and teammates, so that they can be excelling in their career. So we always believe that no matter how well our financial planning skills can be, no matter how expert our investment research can be, if our client is not in a progressive career, no matter how good we are, we can never help them to progress in their career. So to us, financial planning always starts with career planning. It's like, Tam, if you recall in the last session with one of our client, Desmond, he actually believed that our relationship, our partnership should be a two-way thingy. As much as he saw that we are doing our part to be helping him to grow his finances, he sees an equal responsibility on his side to be referring his friends and family members to us so that we can continue to prosper, excel, and allow us to really watch after their finances in their lifetime. So in Unicorn, we always believe that there's no client, only friends. There are no colleagues, only family members. And to us, we love to have fun like Tammy. We always love this session together with her while sharing our experiences, our knowledge. And that was how this Enneagram series was being born.
Yes, I totally remember what he said previously, and I really agree, because sometimes when you talk about planning for your finances, right, you need to have the money first, right? Then you need to figure out where the money comes from, and then the whole lifestyle, your aim of your goals, life goals and stuff, and all this career is a big part as well. So I totally agree why you think it's really important. But I would like to ask you, now that, I know you as a business leader in Unicorn, and then subsequently that I realized you're actually an Enneagram coach. But how did you get in touch with Enneagram in the first place?
Oh yes, that's a good question. I actually chanced upon Enneagram during my darkest day, darkest moment in Unicorn. Yeah, you probably not heard of this story before, but it's always true. All these adversity that we learn to grow better, we learn to get better, and we call these blessings. So a lot of people heard of the word counting blessings, and people always felt that counting blessings is counting all the good things, appreciating all the goodness that has happened to your life. But in Unicorn, I learned that in fact, it's through all these darkest time, all the difficult moments that we learn to grow our character, that we become tougher, become better. So back then, 2 years back, I was leading a team and I was actually losing my people big time. It was not a big team, it was actually just a team of 8. And yet in one single year, you want to make a guess how many people I lost?
It sounds very drastic, so I'm going to cut that number in half.
Yeah, right. It was 4. Right on the spot. I actually lost 4 people in 1 year. And I was like shocked and I couldn't really come to terms with that because in my previous job in my MNC, I was quite well received as a regional area manager. And I still recall that the day that I left, they gave me a big card, a big farewell card. They wrote all the nice words in there. They even gave me a pair of Chanel earrings as a farewell gift. So I could really felt that I think that my team member likes me. They actually was upset when I left, but how come I was struggling so much when I was in Unicorn? Yeah, I couldn't understand that. And that was how I decided to pick up Enneagram. Enneagram helped me to learn more about myself. It created higher self-awareness of myself. On top of that, it was also helping me to understand why my teammates were behaving in a certain manner, how come they are like motivated by very different reasons, and help them to understand the inner world view that they have, help me to get into the inner world of what motivates them. And that was really interesting. And that was how I got in touch with Enneagram.
Why? Because everyone is different, right? And sometimes what we can relate to doesn't mean that it's what the other person feels or want for themselves as well, right? So that's how you got in touch with Enneagram, and that's very interesting. So you've been doing this Enneagram coach. Is it a recent thing?
It has been for 2 years. I got myself accredited about 2 years back. Took that full course of, I guess it was 2 levels, and we have to submit an assignment. We have to find 2 people for us to be coaching on and deliver an assignment on that, and then we get graded for that. So it was quite an interesting thing, and it was very real because it's not just helping you to understand your personality, but it's actually a coaching, a way to coach to help understand their path of growth, how they can become better through the understanding of Enneagram.
I see. I've got in touch with Enneagram because it suddenly got kind of more traction this couple of years, and I have friends who actually asked me to go and join Enneagram workshop, not being a coach, just a workshop to learn about it, right? Like a 2 to 3 day course cost almost $1,000. It's like, huh,
Yeah,
such a big deal, huh?
I actually paid thousands to get the course completed. Yeah, at least a few thousand. In total, could be around 3 to 5,000. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
Okay, so we have the real deal here today, and today talking about Enneagram personality types. You don't have to pay all the hundreds of dollars just to go for a workshop because we're gonna pick Xiaoqin's brain today. But
Oh, nice.
my first question, okay, can you introduce a little bit more about Enneagram? Even though I said something about it, but like tell us a little bit more.
Of course, Enneagram is actually not something new. It has actually evolved and used over 2,500 years. So if we add all our ages together here, I don't think we are going to exceed that. So it is something that has been used over the longest time. And today I have a good news and a bad news to share with you, Tam. Would you like to start off with the good news or the bad news first?
Um, Bad news.
Great. Bad news is that after today, you may not be able to know what's your Enneagram type. And even if you know what's your Enneagram core type, I'm afraid you can't change it, no matter how much you dislike your core type is. So that's the bad news. And now here's the good news. The good news is that you actually have all 9 types within yourself, and you can actually grow to be more dominant in one particular type rather than that's how you can move your self-mastery level. So even though we can't change who we are, but there is chance for us to be growing to a higher mastery level so that we can really have all the different 9 types within ourselves. Yeah, so that's still.
So that's something like a more balanced self, right?
Yes, yes.
Ah,
So Enneagram is never meant to tell you that Tam, this is who I am, right? You know, Enneagram, and I'm that particular type, and that's how I behave this way. So it's not a way for you to justify your behavior, give yourself excuses of why you're behaving in that particular manner, but it's actually for you to have more self-awareness and for you to grow out of your comfort zone to really grow your mastery level and developing all 9 types within yourself. So that's the good news.
And that's a very important point because a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm this type. I'm a Virgo, so I'm a perfectionist. I'm just gonna stick with it. You just have to deal with it." But it's actually toxic, lah. We
It
have
is.
gotta have to keep striving for a better self, and this is what the session is about also today, right? Based on our own personality types or your co-worker's personality type, we try to maximize our own potential because we don't want to let our types just put us ourselves in a box and then we can't move forward. Yeah, I love what you mentioned. It's very important. Okay, now time to tell us more.
Yes, come. I need the slides to be up.
Hmm.
Yes, introducing you the 9 Enneagram types. Next slide, please. So are you ready to excel in your career? Yes, that's the 9 types. So if you look at the 9 types, let me just take you through in order of the numerical. The first one will be the perfectionist. The perfectionist has this need to be perfect. In their worldview, it's either black or white. There is no gray, there's no in between. And if I could describe a perfectionist boss that you meet in the workplace, it could be someone that, let's say, you have done 9 out of 10 of the to-do list, and the perfectionist boss will be picking on that one thing that you haven't done right. So that's how they usually behave, unless you really, they can drive you quite hard, and they believe very strongly in being right and doing the right thing. So that's how they usually behave. Because of time constraint, I'm not going to share in much detail of all the 9 types. I'm just going to give you a very, oh, someone say that the boss is a type 1. Congratulations, Sam. Later, you can share more with us on how your boss behave. But we do have a certain type that we are going to emphasize on this afternoon. So let me just give you a brief overview of all the 9 different types. The second would be the helper. So if you can imagine someone in the workplace who is always helpful, who is always warm, whom if you ask for help or volunteer, he's always the first one to raise the hand and always ready to be there for you. So a type 2 is usually very warm. They love it when you can let them know how you can help them. And they love it when they feel this need that they are needed. And they are likely the ones that even when they are on MC, when they are not feeling well, they are going to come to work because they feel that the workplace cannot continue without their presence. So that's the helper, type 2. Next, we have the achiever. The achiever, if you look at the vibe, they are always impatient. They are always highly motivated. They come with them a certain energy that they can really help you. They have this just do it attitude to make things happen. And for them, they are very driven by the goals that they set. Basically, they need to have a KPI in place for them to perform and for them to be achieving. They are usually image conscious and they are natural leaders. So I'm not sure whether that rings a bell when these are the adjectives that I mentioned, that you can imagine someone that you meet in the workplace.
Like everyone that you mentioned, I got some picture in my mind. Oh, I think this person, that person, that.
Yeah, I'm sure it does, right? And type 4, the individualist, the need to be special. So the individualists, they tend to do very well in the artistic world, in the celebrity world, the prima donna, the artist, the singer. They tend to be quite individualist. And they are the type whom, let's say they bought this new dress that they are really happy about, and then they happily walk out to the street and they saw someone who wear the exact same dress that they are wearing. That's when they are never going to wear that dress again, because there's this strong need to be different, this strong need to be special. So that's type 4. And then we talk about type 5. Type 5 are the ones who are perceived to be very quiet. They are usually the last to be sharing in a group setting. They usually keep to themselves, and most of the time they are even being perceived as having no expression, like a robot. Like, how come you're not reacting? And people will be thinking like, why are they sitting at one corner, taking up that space and like not making themselves known? So that's type 5. The usual occupation that they go into is usually engineer, scientist, researcher. And the famous type 5 will be people like your Albert Einstein, your Thomas Edison. Yeah. And then next we have type 6, the loyalist, the need for security. Yeah, the loyalists, like the name imply, they are usually very loyal, very faithful custodians, and they are the ones who doesn't really, they really go for stability in their career. They are probably the most loyal people that you can imagine to be having as a friend. Yeah, so there's this strong need of for security, and there are really people who care very strongly, and that's why they can be quite easily misunderstood as well, right? And the next one is the enthusiasts, the need to avoid pain. The enthusiasts are people who is highly energetic. They love fun. They love options. So if you bring them to the food court, they just like to walk around the food court, even though it's the same food court that they visit every day, but they'll still walk around looking for options and end up still eating the same food. But this ability to have option really thrills them and make them happy. So that's the enthusiast. Does that sound a bit familiar, Tam? So they are the type who are always very positive. So sometimes they think that, sometimes they may be almost running late for time, but they'll tell myself, can one, can do one. I'm sure I can reach on time. Yeah. So they tend to be overly optimistic sometimes. So that's the enthusiast. And then next we have the challenger. The challenger, they are also known as the boss. So this is the boss in the workplace that need to have control. They need to constantly be in the loop of what you are doing. They are the one who will fight for your rights, who will be, if they really like you, they'll be protecting you, and they really fight for your increment, fight for your bonuses, and they are the justice seeker, right? And the last one is the peacemaker. The peacemaker, they are always deemed to be the very nice people. If you go with them for lunch and you ask them, what do you like to have for lunch? The answer is usually, up to you. How about you? I let you decide. So they usually like to sit on the fence. They don't like to make decisions. They like to blend in with the rest. And that's how they are quite likable. And they are always a highly harmonious people. So that's the simple short in the introduction of the 9 personality types.
I think it's quite clear, like some of us will have more than one of these personalities. It's just which one is stronger, right? And before I go to that more details, I have question for Xiaoqing. Okay,
Oh,
so talking about these, it's actually not something that we can figure out in one session, right? One session of workshop. So I would strongly encourage you all to come for the next one. So next one we're going to talk about also Enneagram, right? Just like
yes.
another type for the meanwhile. Okay, while we're talking about these 9 types, right? Before I ask Xiaoqing that question, I have this same question to ask all of you in the audience over here. Okay, so I say William asking everybody, which type are you? But now actually I'm going to ask this same question back to everybody. Which type is William? Why? Okay, because William's going to be our next speaker, but let me show you an introduction of who William is. Let's see a CV of William and see whether all of us, based on his CV, can guess which personality type William is. Okay, let's flash the CV. I'll highlight a few points for you to notice, and based on that, later we're going to do a poll and decide what personality type William is. Okay, let's see the William CV in our share screen over here. So this is the first time William doing a CV. He told me he has never ever done a CV in his entire life. But I bao toh a bit lah. This one is not he do, other people do for him. Hey, William, he is a business leader in Unicorn. So if you can actually see over here, I mean, other than his email and his address that we're not going to show you, let's take a little bit look into the work experience. So I've noticed William has only 2 career paths before. Last time he used to be, I mean, he is still a senior army commander, but over here you can see that he has quite a few achievements in army. And then the second career he has is now a unicorn business leader. So this shows that, would this person only have 2? What does it show about him? Okay, this is education history. He has a bachelor in mechanical and production engineering. Professional skills is as such. Okay, based on this CV, everybody, we're going to do a poll right here. What personality type do you think William belongs to? And then the poll, we have 3 options for you to choose. Can we flash the poll? Well, meanwhile, in the background, let's also show everybody the 9 personality types that we can choose from. Over here, we have three options. You can choose one, okay? So I cannot vote because I'm panelist. So the option number 1, type 3, he's an achiever. I must avoid all failure, okay? And the second option is type 6, the loyalist. I must find stability. And then the third option is type 9, I'm the peacemaker. I must preserve peace. So based on William's CV, which one do you think William is? Is it type 3? Is it type 6? Is it type 9? So William say correct answer will get a prize. Wow, suddenly got prize. I didn't know. What is William gonna give the winner? I'm very curious. Okay, while the answers are coming in, I would like to invite William on screen right now. William, I would love to have you on screen. Can you please on your camera? Welcome, William. While the results are coming in. Okay, William, how do you feel that we're literally talking behind your back right now?
Not really behind my back, Tammy.
In front.
While you are talking, I can actually hear every single thing and I can even participate.
So over here, let's see the results. Before I ask Xiaoqing what actual type you are, let's see the poll results. Has everybody already clicked on and choose your result? Which type is? Okay, let's go on, wait for 2 more people to continue for them to, we're saying, wow, must preserve peace in Singapore. Trying to make people get the wrong answer. This one very naughty.
He wants the prize for himself.
Sure, but actually, if you read our the brief for this workshop, right, we have an introduction brief, right? If you're invited, you get the brief. We already have a giveaway because the answer is actually written in the introduction. That will also show how many of you were actually reading that material that Andy has painstakingly designed for us. Sekali everybody get wrong, right? Then Andy's nobody read. Okay, we're gonna end the poll over here and then we're gonna see the results. I am very, very curious. Oh, can you hear the thunder? Oh, I have 60% guessing they're the loyalist, and I have 30% guessing that you're the achiever. Actually, you do look like achiever, you know. You look like the strong type, okay? And then type 9, the peacemaker, the one is gonna misled by our admin.
Because I preserve the peace doesn't mean that
because army, right? Okay, so Xiaojing, what is the correct answer? What is William's personality type?
Well, for someone, if you read again his CV, he is someone. Can we have that CV up again?
Okay, the CV. After we look at the CV, I'm going to come to another part. So let's just quickly show the CV and then see which personality type William is based on Xiaoqing's professional analysis.
Yes, if you look at the CV, there's only 2 work experience, and if you want to be really strict, there's only 1, because up till now he's still serving the armed forces, and yeah, so he practically there's no change in his career since day 1. If you look at the very short write-up under the word business leader, he believes in contributing back to Singapore's security and stability, consistently performing in the military, progressing steadily in his career. So some of the keywords here is security, stability, consistently, and this progressing steadily. So all these are actually a lot of giveaway words. And the answer is, of course, he's a type 6 loyalist. And I can totally understand why some people would choose a 3, probably because of how he has been performing since day 1, whether is it in the army or is it in business leader. He has been he's a highly achiever. And that, if you look at the anagram there, you can look at the line from 6, a horizontal line across is actually moved to a 3. And then you can actually see that triangle, which is up on the 9. So that's also how we came out with the MCQ of 369. So for a 6, because of this strong need for security, in the event that they feel stressed or they feel that there's something that they feel stressed about, they actually turn to this need to achieve. And that's how William has been able to achieve success in both careers. It was because of having this fear, this stress that he was undergoing, and he was actually able to turn it around to help him succeed in both careers.
I see, I see. Talking about this, I must really highlight William's achievement. Because over here, he writes, right, during army, right, he had the Sword of Merit, he's the training award holder, he's appointed NS Battalion Commander, and in Unicorn, he is the top investment risk manager. That means he oversees a highest portion of the 420 million assets under advice over here. So this is really achievement over here. So based on that, William, I have a question to ask you. Because
Yes.
you're an achiever, right? You really have quite some achievements, and then as a loyalist, what do you think are the personality traits that made you succeed in both of your career?
I do think that I have a lot of, I would say, success traits. But I guess if I were to name one, I would say consistency, or some would say predictability. I remember during the circuit breaker, despite us not allowing to travel to work, or every day I will still come into office as an essential worker. And why consistency is so important? It's like the sun every morning, no matter which time of the day, or whether it's a public holiday, a cloudy day, you always see the sun will rise from the east, never fail. And this actually gives a sense of security, stability, and assurance to the people around me. And I'm very sure that if you ask my friends, they will know that what drink that I drink, how I dress, and whatever things that I say to them, how I would like to respond. So people can reach me pretty quickly, either via email or messages, and I respond very quickly. All this can be a sense of a security being given to my friends. And especially when they need help, I'm always just a message or phone call away. No matter whether I'm working in the office or I'm so-called back home with my family. But I don't feel stressed when I receive all these calls and messages from my friends, because I don't feel that I'm working. Like I said, I enjoy meeting up with my friends. And don't you like enjoying meeting up with your friends too, Tammy?
Yes, of course, I'm an extrovert. I need to meet people. Okay, based on this, William mentioned consistency. Xiaoxing, what do you think? Is it a clear sign that this is a type 6?
It is. Type 6 behave in a very predictable manner, and hard work is one of their traits. Like what William rightly mentioned, even during circuit breaker, he was coming to office every day. Like I don't come in every day, but each time I come here, I could see his car parked in the exact same place, same location, and he reached office before 8 a.m. every morning throughout the whole of circuit breaker. So that was really something that struck me quite a lot. And that was also the reason why I was not surprised at all at why he has always been consistently our top producer over the last many years that I was in Unicorn. Yeah.
Wow, 8 a.m. I haven't wake up yet.
Yeah, same here. I was still having breakfast at home in my home clothes.
Talking about that, that's good points, okay? But William, what are the common complaints or comments people have about you?
Wow, this one is easy, Tammy. Must be low solo and negative. I get pretty insecure now when I don't get a response from friends. So I will sometimes ask the same question over and over and over again. There was one example I remembered. A friend borrowed a bicycle from me and promised that he will return with the bicycle 1 hour later. 1 hour is up and I don't see the bicycle. So I start texting him to ask for my bicycle. After one text, two texts, there was no reply. So you know what I did? I continued to send him texts. Just press send until he ran back with the bicycle. And he shouted at me and told me that, "Oh, hey William, stop messaging me anymore. My phone, I cannot turn it on. All the messages are jamming it." So this shows the repetitive, I would say, nature if you don't respond to my SMSs. So my clients better watch out. Another thing is when people put up their solutions, I will tend to have a lot of questions. I will ask one question, two questions. Sometimes they give me the solution. I'll ask more questions on their solution. So in a discussion, sometimes it can get a bit draggy because I think too much, I worry too much, I ask too much. So it actually helps if I can actually give myself some time limitation so that I don't overthink.
I'm actually quite glad that you shared with me these points because I have to say, yes, William's a little bit low-so.
Are you sure it's only a bit, Tammy?
You have improved a lot, like really a lot compared to like the first few times that we had webinars. I was like, I always during the meeting must say, right, hey, William, got time limit one. But
So I
it's
must
actually
set myself
not
time
that
limitation.
it's not that a bad point, no, because as for you explain the rationale of you why having to like being more detailed about the things you say, it's because you really wanted to make clear things. About these points, maybe I can ask a little bit with Xiaoqing over here, right? So what does this few points, be it positive points or negative points that William have, tells about a type 6 character?
Okay, let's get the slides up again. So I'm going to do a summary of the strength and weakness of William, so that it's easy for people for the guests here to really recognize the vibe of a type 6. If you meet someone at work, is this person a type 6?
Now who's draggy?
This one is internet.
Can you hear me?
Xiaoqing, are you back?
I think Xiaoqing's having a little bit of internet
Yeah.
issue over here. While we're looking at the slides, I can see what we have over here is type 6 loyalist. The first word I see here, the first sentence, the world is dangerous. Truth is hidden. Appearance are suspicious. I need trustworthy allies. Huh, is this something that you would say, William, as a loyalist? Do you think that this relates to you?
That's very true. That's why I bear arms and I got the largest gun in the entire army. For those who don't know, I'm with the tanks. Yeah,
Right.
but the world is very dangerous.
So over here, while we're waiting for Xiaoqing to come in, no worries. Xiaoqing, anytime you're ready, you can speak, right? Go ahead. While you're sorting this out, let me continue a little chat with William over here, since that we are the one that are still around. Before,
Yes.
cannot say Xiaoqing is lost or along with it because it's the technical issue. It's not with the character. I'm pretty sure she's not the loyalist type. Okay, over here, I wanted to ask previously is why what does this trait means loyalist, right? But let me just throw this question to William. Do you actually feel that loyalty is a very important thing to you? Is consistency and security very important to you?
Hmm. I think personally, loyalty and I would say consistency. It's not that I deliberately pursue it, but because of the underlying element of the need for me to feel secure. When someone wants assurance, some predictability, you want something that is consistently repetitive. So in that pursuit for that quality in the things around me, I tend to investigate more. So in order for me to investigate, I ask a lot of questions, and of course I dig deeper, and I try to second guess myself. Sometimes to a certain extent, you have the angel and the devil, both talking at the same time, asking myself the same old question over and over again. So through this rigorous, I would say, continuous questioning, somehow things that I like will tend to be, I would say, you can say stable, consistent. Uh, um, that's what I think.
Okay, talking about that. So
Mm,
consistency, stability, all these are very important to you, which
yes.
I am a little bit curious talking about that, right? Because I understand, okay, let's say if you chose to be in the army, that one is a very clear decision, like a very clear career choice for somebody who is a loyalist, right? This traits. But actually, for a career choice for joining Unicom as a financial advisor, a financial planner, it doesn't seem to be such a clear-cut option for a type 6 where you need a lot of stability, a lot of security, right? Perhaps you can just share with me shortly while we're waiting for Xiaoqing to come in. Why did you choose this career instead?
Hmm. Well, I started off having that thought that having a civil service career is great because it's stable, it has a good income, and you are probably quite able to predict exactly how the progression is like. But as time goes by, as my family grew, I start seeing the surrounding changes like rising costs and things like that. I realized that actually it is no longer tenable for me to have such a short career in the SAF, especially since in the SAF, we are talking about maybe this career of like maybe up to 50.
Hello, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Hello, hello, Xiaojing. Welcome back. We were talking about why William chose this career, but he already mentioned a brief point. But since Xiaojing is back, I'm going to bring the topic back again. Okay, let's talk about
Okay.
loyalists and then the types. I mean, more about the loyalist type, and then we come back to the second question. Just now, I was asking William. Okay, so William agreed that the world is dangerous. The truth is hidden. Appearance are suspicious. Need trustworthy allies. What more can we say about the type 6?
Let's take a look. So the strength is really like what William mentioned earlier, stability, trustworthiness. They're highly reliable co-workers at the workplace. So if you are able to win their hearts, basically they're going to stay throughout their career into that same role. So can you imagine how worthy it is to be investing your time and energy to be training and grooming a type 6 to enable them to, so the retention will be quite easy once you get this part right. And let's look at the weaknesses. So that's also when we are talking about the blaming, the negativity, the loso. The loso came about because type 6, there is this need for strong assurance. They are sometimes asking the same question because they are testing out for consistency. Like if I ask Tam the same question twice, she answered it differently. So that could be she could be suspicious. I may not be able to trust her. Yeah, so type 6, they are always looking out for consistency to ensure that they are really talking about the same thing before you can win them over. So trust is a super important fact for them. And before I move on, let me just ask William, like how do you usually make purchases? Are you usually someone who likes to try new brands when you buy things, or are you someone who is always sticking to the same brand? How do you usually make your purchases?
Oh. If you look at Xiaoqing, if you look at my sportswear, you will see that I don't like to choose. Once I decided what I need, everything will go to that brand. Everything from what I wear, I go to the same tailor. My sportswear all come from the same sports shop. Even my gear, all come from the same retailer. So you're right.
Right, that's how usually a type 6 will make their purchases. Let's take a look at the next slide. How they usually deal with money and what are they like in their workplace. Yeah, so at work, they are super strong team players. They really question and examine to gain your trust and gain your clarity. But once they trust you, they go all the way. They are usually doubtful even of the obvious. Sometimes during a meeting, you could like it's almost time to go and really want to leave, and then they start to ask like the same question over and over again, right? Then you're wondering like what's wrong with them. So that's some of the things that you can notice how they behave at work. And then when it comes to money matters, they are extra careful, very careful with their money, and they really need to know all the details before spending. They are also very sensitive to risk, and that's what makes them a really good risk manager because they are risk averse, and you can totally trust and rely on them to manage your finances because they'll take care, ensure that all your risks or chances of losing your money are fully being covered. So they are always very loyal to a particular brand, like what William mentioned earlier. Once they trust the brand, yeah.
Now I know why I have such a high forehead. I got strong analytical power.
Right. So the two words on top, what if? That's because in their whole, if you can put yourself into their position, they're always thinking about the different scenario, different ways in which they can be failing a project. So let's say for instance, a type 7 came really enthusiastically to share about his project, that she's fully think that it's going to be fun, is energetic, I'm sure that it's going to fail, and she shared that with William. Chances are he's going to pour a pail of cold water over the head, and you feel totally drenched, like 泼冷水. You feel totally disheartened. But that's how a type 6 usually work. And the main reason why they do that is because they really care about you. They really care about the success of the project, and they want to ensure that all the different blind spots can be covered. So they make really good contingency planning, and they make really good risk managers. So if you need someone, you can call him the devil's advocate, but once all the different ways that the project could feel are properly being managed, you can be absolutely sure that the project is on its way to success.
That's a very good point to know, because like if I have a lot of people who go and pour so I would think that why this person so negative one, but it's for loyalists is because they actually want the best interest, right? So I think that's a good point to note. Okay, how can I handle people like William if I have them in my life, in my workplace?
That's a good question. Let's look at the next slide then. Useful tips to work with a type 6. So there are growth tips. Let me first share with you some tips if we have some type 6 audience, or these are actually the tips that I can be giving to William. First one is to be aware of how you create your self-fulfilling prophecy. So if you think that the project is going to fail, chances are it's really going to fail. Yeah. Secondly, work on building trust in your relationship. Next, you need to learn to be more fun and romantic, William. And lastly, because the type 6 tend to use a lot of the thinking, the mind energy. So one way that can help him to release this anxiety and stress, I see that he's learning to be more fun and romantic immediately. So that's really great. And some healthy habits that you can be developing to release anxiety is to exercise, because exercising is using a different body part. So the energy center for type 6 is usually from the head, but if he can exercise using the body, that can be really some ways for him to release his anxiety, and these are really healthy. It's especially great for type 6.
Xiaoqing, if you don't mind me asking, can I just check? So can you elaborate a bit more about how I create self-fulfilling prophecies?
Right. Let me then give you an example of what happened to my one of my teammates 2 years back. He was a type 6, and to be honest, he was actually the propelling reason of why I decided to sign up for Anagram, because I find it so hard to work with this type 6. He was perpetually telling me that so I shared with him how he can speak to his clients about this particular case, and he'll be telling me 10 different reasons of the what if my client said this to me, and what if my client said that to me. So I find it so hard to be speaking to him. But he told me that if his bank deposit were to, let's say he continue not to do well in this practice, and his bank deposit were to decline to another 10,000, he's going to leave the job. And indeed, when that happens, he really leave. And this is what we call 3 feet from goal. It's precisely when you are reaching that stressful moment, that's when you are, a type 6 can actually go through that process of achieving what he needs to. But when you give up into that state whereby you are going to the downfall, that's when you miss that chance to really achieve and do well in your career. So that's why you have to be aware of creating this self-fulfilling prophecy, because it does really happen when you're not careful.
Thank you so much.
Hope that helps. And yes, back to Tammy's question, how can we support a type 6 at work?
Very important, because if you're not type 6, I want to hear.
Past performance.
Sorry.
If you're able to show them past record and past performance, that will really give them the confidence and the assurance to be doing well. Secondly, the assurance that you can be giving them is really through the different contingency planning, meaning Plan A, if it doesn't happen, what is the solution? Plan B, if it doesn't happen, what's the solution? Plan C, if that doesn't happen, what can be the solution that I can be giving? Once you address all the different fears and the different scenario of how that can fail, that is when they really feel confident to charge forward. And that's when they really feel assured that they can be doing a great job. Now, of course, the last one is, don't be thrown off by their doubting fronts. You need to be really patient with the type 6.
I mean, now you know, okay, when I pour cold water over your ideas, it's because later on I want to give you a warm towel.
Wow, wow, wow. This is the instant growth tip that you took, right? To be more fun and interesting.
Boss.
Sachin, I have a question talking about that, right? So let's say I have a co-worker who is type 6, right? You say I gotta be more patient so that I can hear him out because he doesn't really mean it, right? What if I run out of patience?
What if you run out of patience?
This is the question that we didn't rehearse. See whether Xiaoqing will actually reply me. But I need to just remind myself, no lah, no lah, it's not lah, it's not lah, is it?
I give you more towel.
Or maybe I should just ask the type 6, right? You're adulting, you pour all this 冷水, it's because you actually wanted to, you actually meant well, right? Is it better for me to ask the person rather than just own self assume that he is not being nice?
Maybe because I feel that sometimes because as a type 6, I need more perspective, more assurances. So when you share from your perspective, that's only one perspective. I may want to clarify, ask more questions so that I get a clearer picture of exactly what needs to be done. So I think it links very well with what earlier on Xiaoqing mentioned. If you can show me more, you can say examples, or maybe even clarity in what you want to be doing, then generally I will be less fearful, feel less, I would say less insecure about the decision that's going to happen or the things that's going to happen. Yeah.
I see that's a good point coming from, because I'm totally not type 6, right? So sometimes I really can understand, why you're like that one.
Actually, one example to share quickly. For example, before I wanted to buy an electronic gadget, guys now we like to buy electronic gadgets. Typically, I realized that I will actually go online to find a lot of reviews on it, be it a written review or video reviews of everyone who have used the device before, and I gather all angles before I actually commit to doing it. And once I get onto the brand or I get onto the device, usually that whole ecosystem of things, I will just, carry on, continue buying because I have the assurance that they all work well together. Yeah.
I see. You are the type of customer, it's very good. Once I get you hooked on, you'll be with me forever.
Yes. Thanks to the power of all these different perspectives through videos, through reviews. I own several Apple products.
You're the Apple user, I'm the Samsung user. Okay, that aside, we have some time. If anybody has any questions, feel free to type in the Q&A segment on the chat. What questions you like to know? Perhaps you want to know more about type 6, or you want to know more about Enneagram, or you have some questions for William perhaps, or some questions for Xiaoqing. Feel free to type in the Q&A segment over here. Subsequently, when we have some questions coming, we just pick it up. And meanwhile, while the questions are coming in, let's continue the little chat that we have just now. William, we were talking halfway why you decided to join Unicorn, right? And then you mentioned that actually, yes, Army looks like it's very stable, but actually Unicorn doesn't mean it's not volatile. It's volatile. It means something else to you. Can you elaborate more on that?
Yeah. So I was saying that actually on the surface, to me, having a civil service career is very good, it's stable, it's secure. But in I would say deeper scrutiny, I realized that actually things are not so. Why? I mean, back in the civil service, I will get to retire at about age 45, 50. I think it's way too early for me to say call it a day and then just give up years of my work experiences and life experiences and then just hang out on the tower. I think there's so much of me that I can still be contributing to the society, to the people around me. And with such a short career span in the army, I got to find something to do for myself. I couldn't be doing it only when that organization don't want me. Am I right to say that? And I don't wish for my life to actually depreciate, over time as I age. But instead, if I could, I want to be able to refire myself consistently so that I can be able to grow myself and to achieve greater heights in my career, in my life.
So for you, is the longevity lah.
Yes, yeah. I do see a very short runway if I were to be working for a certain organization, especially when the organization do not want me. Things are not within my control. As you know, I need stability, I need security. So things that is beyond my control is something definitely I would want to shun away from.
I see, I see. Any other reasons that would you join a unicorn?
Yes. Thanks, Tammy, for asking again. One more point is this consistency in my growth. I remember when I was in the military, I always enjoyed speaking to young people, imbuing them with the necessary qualities, passion in terms of soldiering. And I spent 3 years in the training institute coaching my officers, cadets on how they can grow to become better leaders. I thoroughly enjoyed the experience. But so when I highlighted to my human resource that I want to continue to be serving in that fraternity, I was told that due to time and space, that option is not available. Even though I accepted that it may even slow down my progression, they couldn't have it. Instead, they redeployed me to something which I do not really like. And I really feel that consistency in my professional growth is something I want to pursue. But at that point of time, this was not offered to me. Over as an entrepreneur professional, first I choose what are the skill sets I need to be building this profession, as well as now I'm able to offer my services to the people that I like working with, I want to work with. And the company do not impose any, I would say, limitation, whether be it be sales quota or maybe even demands that I need to fulfill certain projects within a certain period of time. The only demand that they have for me is that I continue to serve my clients for long term. And of course, lastly, although as much as I enjoy working in a group back in the army, because I feel that as a team, as a group, I can always do much more, travel further when we are in a team. Back in the previous organization, there are times that I feel that it is challenging to work together, especially when people are misaligned in some of the goals that they want to be achieving for themselves. Over in Unicorn, the company, clients, myself, we share the same vision of wanting to walk this financial journey together and to achieve our success together. So with this aligned vision and mission, I think it's very easy for me to commit to them, to drive them or towards their goals and to keep each other on track towards our financial goals.
I see. So let me give a little summary of what you said. See whether I'm correct, lah. Because you wanted stability, that's why you're thinking staying in the army. You know that by when you're a certain age, right, they're not gonna use you. So actually, that's to you. You're trying to find a backup, something else you can do, right? You want something that has better longevity to make use of what you can still offer. That's why you choose to join Unicorn. But then again, a lot of people think that Unicorn, or like financial planning advisory is volatile, but actually you see it something that's more stable because you have control over it, right? And then not only that, you like that it's just a team, it's a family, so you're not actually fighting on your own. So you actually have this backup that's with you as well. If I'm correct, not your head. I see William smiling. Is like, yeah. I think you are taking the hints from Xiaoqing that you need to be more fun and vibrant. I have questions over here. It looks like our questions is more directed to Xiaoqing. So, for example, one question here is, what would be a suitable career path for Type 6? And then, Xiaoqing, if you're around, perhaps you can answer this question. What would be a suitable career path for Type 6? She's like, huh?
Can you all hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Sorry, I arrow you.
No, I just need to know. So what is a super career path for Type 6? Type 6 are especially do well in a stable environment, very well supported. So they seek a mentorship, they seek someone who has higher wisdom for them. So that really gives them a lot of comfort and a lot of guidance, and they work especially well. And that was also the reason why when William joined Unicorn, he was really seeking for someone who is there to be guiding him throughout his life. And that's how he chanced upon Unicorn. If you ask me on outside, I would think like a government job, a civil servant job would be especially suitable, especially for those that doesn't have a limit to how long they can stay. So for instance, if it's up to age 50, that may not give them that sense of security. But let's say you are doing an admin job in a very stable environment, that could work for them. Yeah.
I see. Okay, I have a question, another question over here. What would be a career path suitable for type 7, the enthusiast? Type 7
that
is
from
me.
you? Is that from you? So type 7, interesting question. Type 7 are someone who are fun-loving. They hate routine. They hate the 9 to 5 job. They basically cannot sit still in an office job. So if you put them in a very confined environment, they are very contrary to a type 6. I think they are going to die of boredom before they can achieve anything. A type 7, yeah, I'm correct, right? 7 usually do well in a very creative environment. They like to talk to people. They are very engaging people. They are really like the people who will win the popularity vote. So they especially do well in, let's say, the entertainment industry. A sales role could fit very well into their type of personality as well, because they're so outgoing. Creative role, like let's say in marketing, that could also do well for type 7.
I
Yeah.
see. Yeah, sounds about right. So actually, I am the total opposite of William.
You are. That's why
We need
sometimes
to,
you find him very low. So that's really because of the type of personality that you are in as well. It's not just because of him, but it's also because of who you are.
yeah, I think so. I think so. Okay, I have another question over here, right? Okay. So over here, someone asked, this is Sam, right? Sam always worry about making the wrong decision. Does that make him a type 6? This is very interesting.
Oh, wow, that's a tough question because it all depends. Because different personality type, they worry for different reason. So we need to understand, like from Sam, like when you worry about making the wrong decision, what is it exactly that you worry about? Is it worrying about the stability? Is it worrying about making the wrong decision, the right or wrong? That could make you a type 1 as well, because the type 1 is always concerned about the right or wrong. There's no in between. So the possibility could be endless. But if Sam, you are interested to know more, we can always invite you down for one-to-one consultation with us to understand more about your personality type.
Wow, this one good, this one good. What type are you?
Yeah, make a guess. I cannot review so early. If not, you'll not be following the next few episodes. The
Yeah,
fun
yes.
thing is that we are all going to get interviewed by the type that we have, right? The interesting thing is that this R Factor team, we happen to have 5 different personality types. Not one of us is the same. Yeah, so
Yes.
that's the interesting thing. So we are going.
Actually, every single type can work together. We just need to find how's the best way, right? And at the same time, okay, will that be the right decision? Any risk? Sam is asking. Don't quite understand the question though. Okay, uh, Xiaoqing is just laughing. But I want to actually write on what Xiaoqing mentioned just now, right? Because yes, we actually need more information before we can decide which personality type you are. That means every month following from here, we're gonna do one focus point on one personality type every the next episode and the subsequent one. So yes, every episode we're gonna touch a little bit more about the others as well, but every one we will have one new focus. So this episode we were focusing on type 6. You can learn more about type 6 if you are one, how to improve yourself better, maximize your potential. Or if you're not, the people around you, you can kind of identify, oh, are they this? I think maybe my spouse is this type, I need to do certain thing, or like my boss is this type, or my child is this type, or my colleague is this type, right? So I think it's very fun to actually learn, because that will actually make me realize, for example, like me working with William. Oh, Sachin just mentioned, it's not because, yes, William is a little lost on, but because me myself is the type that needs excitement. That's why I find him a little, I got no patience for it. So this kind of thing we can learn throughout the session. So if you have time, the next month and the following episodes, do join us for this session. We can learn more. Alternatively, we can have one-to-one session from the people who invite you as well. And over here, I have another question. Okay, just to wrap up our Q&A, since we have no more new Q&A questions coming in, right? So what can you do in general, other than coming for our next session, having one-to-one? It will be a good tip for us to identify, like, make use of Enneagram in our daily lives, like, what kind of benefits knowing more Enneagram can do for us?
If you ask me, for me, it started with having higher self-awareness. I think it's easier to understand because before Enneagram, I didn't know that I was this personality type. I didn't know that why I was behaving in this manner. I didn't even know what motivates me to do more. And after coming to touch with Enneagram, it helps me to understand what is that trigger point, what is that hot button that I need to press for myself in order to bring myself to the next level. So I think it's really having discovery of myself first of all, before this ability to have empathy towards working with a type 6, a type 7, understanding that if I bring Tammy out for a meal, I need to make sure that it's fun, it's enjoyable, and that I don't bore her to death. So that's the kind of awareness that I need to have, first of all for myself, and then next to be for the people around me. And that's really make the whole working relationship a lot better, like what Tammy mentioned. So William will be the one who will be the devil's advocate, telling us why this idea is so bad. And then if we can convince him, I think we can basically convince the whole world that this is going to be a great project. And then we need to rely on Tam's creativity to make the whole thing more fun, more engaging. And then we have a type 3 in our team who's going to make things happen, the just do it attitude. And we have a helper as well in our team who is there to always help to ensure that everything is properly in place, our strongly reliable helper. And for me, I'm not going to dive out too much about my type so that we have some secret about what's going to come next.
This one is very smart. This one is very smart. I have to give it to you. Thank you, Xiaoxing, for your time. And really, what you shared today, I've learned a lot. Although this is like, I mean, we had a few meetings before it runs, but still, this session alone, I've learned quite a bit from you. So really, thank you for your time. And thank you, the background, like Andy trying to sort out our technical issues. And this time, I'm going to put the spotlight back on William over here. William, I'm not going to let you off so quickly. Meanwhile, bye-bye to Xiaoqing. I'm going to say, thank you, Xiaoqing.
Thank you.
Thanks, Xiaoxing.
William, my question for you is, now we understand why you choose your career path, right? I also understand that Unicorn is recruiting. So this is one of the reasons why we're doing R Factor as well. But my question is, why is Unicorn recruiting?
Anyway, as I help my friends and clients to strategize their finances, hedge against rising costs, unexpected events in their life, I realized that actually the best advice that I can give them is actually to help them to find a evergreen career, a long-lasting career, which could actually empower their growth for life as well as their income exponentially. And we believe that every Singaporean deserves to have a unicorn financial plan. And so Unicorn wants to expand ourselves to grow our advisory capability, to have more investment researchers to deliver better returns on our investments. And with more like-minded people like the audience, we can actually expand our reach out to more friends, offer more services, raise our standards and performances.
I see. Okay. So let's say I am interested, right? Or you have friends who are interested as well, okay? We can actually explore more. But what am I supposed to expect when I join Unicorn over here? Like, because over here we know that, let's say, especially of a lot of us, I mean, not me, but a lot of us, I understand that we have been very used to drawing a fixed salary. How is it like to transit into a professional?
Knowing that most of our friends will come from a salaried background, of course, there will be ample support given to them. In Unicorn, there are no colleagues, only family, and there's no clients, only friends. When a friend joins us from the corporate world, you'll be guaranteed to be given appropriate training so that will be all equipped with the right skill set, be able to help and advise their friends. Take for example myself. I come from a mechanical engineering background and from the military. I don't have any financial background. When I made the transition, a lot of support was given by colleagues or co-workers to give me the necessary knowledge, the basics, so that I can go out be helping my friends. The fact that only about 30% of our Unicorn consultants has prior financial experience is a great testament of, I would say, to our training and coaching systems. Of course, needless to say, like just now earlier on, Sam also mentioned, there will be a lot of uncertainties. fear, whether I make the right decision, whether I should pivot or not to pivot, should I wait, not to wait. Okay, but let me ask you this: if this pivot is essential to your personal financial success, wouldn't it be fruitful to spend an hour with us so that you can actually find out more about yourself, as well as what unicorn consultants actually do to advise and help our friends? There are hundreds of testimonies that we receive from our friends or in Google reviews and in daily or say conversation with them. And I feel that these are actually signs to show that actually unicorn is a great place, it's a different place than many of the, I would say, the financial advisory organizations out there. Or there may be more than what you think you might already know. So coming down to meet up with us or through a face-to-face session, in that hour, you will be able to understand your personality better. I mean, we have our Enneagram coach to be able to guide you on your strengths and weaknesses. And number two, you will know actually in financial advisory, what is it that we really do to receive that kind of, I would say, feedback, testimonies from hundreds of our friends and clients. Yeah.
Yes, I do get what you're trying to say. So, and this is also something that I really want to say on me. I feel that this is what William said. I want to say, yes, I totally agree, because I am a unicorn client as well, right? Not just the hundreds of testimonials in Google review. I also given my own testimonial, like why I want to be a client, why I like this environment, and so on. So like William mentioned, give yourself this chance to go and find out more. We can understand your personality better. We can find out, like, through this, why this is something that could be for you. So based on this, I would like everybody to join us for the next session if you're interested, or if even you have friends you think that might be interested in perhaps changing a career or exploring something better, a different environment, or maybe more stability in that sense, or more longevity, or someone who would benefit in an environment where it's like more family oriented, not just very corporate and cold kind of environment. You can actually invite yourself down for a session. We used to have this session called the R Breakfast. It's to chit chat more, but because of the new phase 2, we're gonna do a little bit tweak. We're gonna call it the R Consultation Session. So it's a career consultation session, and it's more for you to explore different options for your career, to understand the mindset of a successful entrepreneur, to understand the role of a financial planner, discover more personality types as well. Of course, to be there yourself, to verify for yourself whatever we say. Maybe it's just words, right? Maybe you can go there and experience it and see it for yourself, whether it's actually what we say it is. And then you can also talk to the veterans who are around in the industry. But this session, we only limit to 4 packs per table, because we try to, be good citizens. We must adhere to the government restrictions, phase 2, right? So this session will be on the 15th of May, which is next week, Saturday at 10 a.m. at our Kampong Private Club. So if you want to join, you can just scan this QR code. Alternatively, you can just contact the person who invited you today to make an appointment to ask more about this session. So over here, it's like a get together, a chit chat session. I've been to one session previously as well. This one will be very much similar, just that we are in a smaller group, and then we will have more in-depth discussions. You can ask questions out of the box, or anything you're concerned with as well. You can ask during the session, what do you guys actually do? Do you have sales target? Which I know actually don't have. Really laughing, yes. Then
That's a giveaway.
things like that. Well, what else do you think we can actually expect from our consultation session, William?
I guess don't waste the opportunity. I mean, to speak to more people as we are thinking about pivoting, understanding the current circumstances, the situation. It's good to speak to more people. I mean, coming down for the R consultation, I feel that, okay, in the past, I actually come down for such consultations before, but definitely not the same R consultation. But I came down with the open-minded mindset to want to explore and then find out more, and then to understand, or like earlier on what you also mentioned, that you can actually question the consultants, or I won't say question, but actually converse with them to understand what's their daily routine like, how is their life like. Okay, can you imagine if you can actually have a platform that empowers you to actually grow and learn at the same time to have a good income. I think these are some of the factors that will entice someone to even consider pivoting during this particular period of time.
Yes, and I agree. And everybody will have different questions depending on your personality type. For me, when I was there, the main few questions I asked was, do you think it will fit my lifestyle? It will be fun enough. I'm pretty sure people not type 7 might not ask this kind of question.
Yes, that's a valid questions. When we want to pivot, we want to see how we can adapt. And when you know the details, I mean, at least for type 6 now, when I know the details, I know exactly what to be expecting. I feel more secure to walk into this so-called unknown. Yeah. So I will urge just now, I think it was Sam. Yeah. I think it's not easy to answer your question, especially since we do not know which type you're asking the question from. Yeah. So let the type master or Xiao Qing
Everything
ascertain
moves
your
to
type.
Xiaoxing. Okay, we really strongly encourage you to join us for our consultation. And obviously, we have also been talking that our factor is not just a one episode thing, it's a series of webinars. And the following one, we'll also be talking about Enneagram. We're going to invite Xiaoting back again to talk more, maybe about another personality type. And then we want to let you learn more about this, how you can actually leverage on this knowledge to help you on your daily life and your career as well. So you're invited to join us for the next session. And also feel free to extend the invitation to your friends, because I'm pretty sure a lot of us would be benefiting from this next session as well. So once again, thank you so much, William, for joining me today. Thank you so much, everybody, for all your
Thank you,
time.
Penny.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you, everyone.
Is the next one that we have, the R Factor, will be on the 5th of June, also on a Saturday at 3 p.m. So do feel free to join us. And if you want more information about the R consultation or the next R Factor, you can just contact your person who invited you here today. And once again, thank you for joining me. Thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend. This is R Factor. I am Tammy Chu, signing off. Bye-bye. Hello, everybody.